What it do, baby? It's your boy H-Town-rr, and we're in the H. Actually, we're on the outskirts of the H, but we will go into the H later on today. That's what this video is about. We're gonna see the skyline, and then we're gonna go downtown in between the buildings, and yeah, it'll be a good ride. And hopefully you guys can hear me over the wind on the freeway. But as of now, we'll talk about this beautiful BMW s1000rr 2010. I just picked her up probably like, I don't know, a month ago. And so I just put some frame sliders on her, spools. She already came with a new chain, new sprocket, carbon fiber front fender. What else? Oh, flashed and tuned. So the guy claims she's making 198 horsepower to the wheel. I can't confirm that, but I won't deny it either. So yes, and brand new Q3s front and back with small chicken strips. I'll admit, tiny. I can get her down more. I only had her for a month. Don't freaking tear me up. Nice little license plate cover. Can't forget to take that off. Last time was tragic. Got my little gremlin bell on there already. And yeah, so on the ride, I'm going to compare her a lot to my ZX-10Rs because that's to date my favorite bikes. I had a 2008 and a 2010, and so yeah, you're gonna hear a lot of comparisons. She's super stiff. I did adjust the suspension, but still a little bit stiff, but you know, I'll talk about that later on. But yeah, I'm gonna talk about some interesting facts that I found with this bike that I didn't even know about it before I actually bought it. So yeah, it'll be pretty interesting. And she's kind of dirty right now, so yeah, I need to wash her up. But I mean, it's not really gonna judge how she rides. So let's get on her and ride her. All right, y'all, I had to pull over so I could give y'all the full view, panoramic picture. But really, I really should have just left the camera on, to be honest, because I witnessed some road rage. I witnessed a hit and run. But let's be honest, I mean, is it really Houston? Is it really a Saturday evening if you don't witness at least one of those? I'm trying not to go too fast because I know the wind is gonna absolutely kill the audio, but I want to give y'all a nice little coming into Houston 45 South view of the skyline. There it is. Gorgeous. Absolutely beautiful. There she is. Goodness gracious. Can you see? Can you tell how stiff these shocks are? And I mean my forks, look, they're all the way out. And I adjusted the rear spring too, so what can you do? About the bike yet because of the wind noise. I can barely hear myself think. Maybe I should get a quieter helmet. Okay, you convinced me at 1000 views, I'll get a quieter helmet. All right. By the way, if you're not from Houston or you haven't driven in Houston, you're in for a surprise because no one knows how to drive. Which I guess might be true in a lot of places, but I don't know. Houston's just a different breed. I've been to a few cities. I'm gonna have to call out Dallas because so this bridge used to say be someone, and it said it for a really long time. But this is the Be Someone bridge. Exhaust is really loud too. I like it. It has a cat delete too, just in case. I know I didn't mention that earlier. But why are we going 30 in a 65? Because we are in the H. And this is my exit. So, alrighty. It's like even when there is traffic, nobody, like there is no left lane, fast lane. It's just people drive however they want to drive. And being on a motorcycle specifically, you got to be careful because these people do not see you. They don't want to see you. And then after they hit you, they're going to pretend they didn't see you. As we witnessed today, well, as I witnessed today, except dude was in a cage, so a little bit different. Hey buddy, I'm right here. Okay, stay in your lane. Look at the new Vet C8 paper plates. What do y'all think about the new Vet? I personally like the C7. I'm a little biased, but you know, last year they made the 7-speed manual, and I just feel like if you have a car like that, you gotta have the manual. Got to. Or else what are you doing? You're driving a scooter. Alright, let's hit this exit. Down the street! Should have taken 610. Alright, so as you can hear on the downshifts, or maybe not, this does have, so this is a 2010 model, and it does have the auto blipper, and it does have the quick shifter installed on it. The auto blipper, it works just fine, but for me, I can't say it works just fine. It's not perfect, and I'm so used to downshifting with just a regular, you know, bike with no auto blipper, and so I don't know. I mean, it's good, but it's not perfect. So, oh gosh, where are we going? We can turn right here. It's not perfect. And then the quick shifts on the upshifts. Now remember, this is aftermarket, upshift and auto blipper. They're very, the upshift is very like, it likes high revs. Like, yeah, you could shift it at like maybe, you could quick shift it at maybe like, I don't know, 4, but it doesn't really like that. So in this video, you're gonna see me shifting, well, if I go high, you're gonna see me shifting in the higher rev ranges. Like earlier, whenever I was shifting on the feeder, those were short shifts and didn't really like that, but like it did it. So that's that. And yeah, but this bike does have a pre-installed steering damper hidden in there somewhere. And so if you don't know what a steering damper is, it essentially just, it's I don't know what's the best way to describe it. It gives control to your handlebars. It's less vibration, so it helps avoid tank slappers And if you don't know what a tank slapper is, you should really look that up on YouTube. Why does this dude have his turn signal on? He's gonna freaking hit me. It's not a turning lane. Yeah, you should look it up on YouTube because it's some wild videos. Highly suggest that. So, yeah. I'm afraid this guy's gonna turn and hit me, so we're gonna wait and see what he does. Okay, I'm gonna go first. Alrighty. We are on the empty side of downtown, but then again, it's like 6 o'clock. So, no one's at the club yet. Or bars, I should say. I personally hate downtown because I be getting confused all these one ways. Left, right, left, straight, backwards. I don't know what to do. I swear one of these signs told me to go on one wheel. Mess around and pop the wheel on the way down. Alright, let's see. Anyway. So this bike has a super stiff suspension. I've already tried fixing it. It didn't work. I'll try it again probably some other time. But I bring that up so much because, especially in these Houston roads, there's potholes everywhere. And this just beats the living crap out of you driving on any road that is just not smooth at all. So great for the track. Absolutely perfect for the track. And, you know, obviously that's what it's designed for. But not so much for city riding. And anybody who says, oh yeah, get a s1000rr, it's so comfortable. Yeah, like they lied. They lied 100%. Because you're not gonna get any bike that's bent over like this in an aggressive seating position that's just comfortable. That just doesn't happen. Like the closest thing that you'll get is maybe like a 300 or a 400, but my back hurts when I get home. Like I gotta take a bubble bath with bath bombs. The colorful ones from Lush. It's kind of ridiculous. But nevertheless, you don't really buy a 200 horsepower motorcycle to go lollygagging around downtown. There's a Houston Center. You really buy it to go on the track, hit the twisties, yada yada. But that's what all these videos are. And a lot of people do buy motorcycles just to commute. I used to see a BMW s1000rr every single day on my commute to work. So it's definitely not uncommon. Now, another cool feature that I think that this bike has is it has the warning, like the flashers on it right there. I don't know if you can see the emergency lights, as some call it. And I think that's awesome because the last bike that I had that on was the Hayabusa. And so I know Gixxer was doing it for a while. So it's pretty cool that BMW introduced it. Another thing that I did not know about this bike is that, I'm not even making this up. So whenever you turn, like whenever you make a legit turn, like if I'm turning from here to there, which I'm not going to do because that's a one-way, it cancels the turn signal for you, just like you're in a car. And I know there's some people that are probably going to be like, oh my gosh, you didn't know that? Like, that's what the BMW is about. Well, no, I didn't know that. It blew my mind because I'm like OCD with it. So when I turn, I'm religiously hitting the cancel button. And even if I don't turn, I'm religiously hitting the cancel button. And then even if I'm going straight and I didn't even turn for 2 miles, I'm still hitting the cancel button. So when I looked down after I turned and saw there was no flashing lights, I was like, I was shocked. I was like, what just happened? I thought somebody was performing voodoo on me or something like that, or it was on one of those prank TV shows, because this doesn't happen to me. And I'm gonna have to try one of those scooters, to be honest with you. I used to have a little electric scooter when I was little. I'd be up and down the street, meep, meep. Man, I thought I was the fastest kid on the block. I was probably going 15 miles an hour. Man, I got a little tickle in my throat. But I don't got the COVID. I promise. Coronavirus. So, in comparison, goodness gracious. So yeah, I do have the sticky tires on it, the Q3 pluses on front and back. The adjustments I did do to it, I'm more comfortable with in the cornering right now. I'm gonna have to get rid of those chicken strips though. But let's go to the power. Let's talk about the power, because, oh my God. Because, I mean, that's what this whole bike is about, right? It's the power. So the power on this bad boy. Okay. So obviously I've mentioned I've had my s1000rrs, right? Those are like my favorite bikes. And super, super fast. I had a 2008 and a 2010. And actually I had an 06 too. Those were like my favorite bikes just because the way they cornered, the power they had behind it, it was just phenomenal. Honestly, it's like one of my favorite bikes. Okay, coming back to this bike, the power of this thing it's laughable. It really is what it is, because you really can't describe it, you just have to laugh. It's weird. Okay, going back in comparison, my 10 redlined at 13, this redline's at 14. So I always think that I'm running out of room whenever I get to about 11 and 12. Okay, so let's talk about throttle response. On the Japanese bikes, and I did not know this is like a cool little thing I guess BMW bikes do. But on Japanese bikes, the throttle, let's say it's like the distance from closed throttle to open throttle is like not as long as the distance from closed throttle to open throttle on BMW, if that makes sense. So like if I have my hand on the throttle on a Japanese bike and I twist my wrist, like if I have my hand flat just like this, and you'll have to excuse my voice because like I said, I got this cough, this pollen's killing me. I even took my Zyrtec this morning. But okay, so I have my hand flat just like this. If I twist it down like that on a Japanese bike, I am full throttle, I'm flat out. If you twist it like that on a BMW, you're at half throttle. The throttle, what is the word for it? The throttle distance on this thing is so long, so if you actually want a full throttle, you have to fully grip it. Like you have to put your hand like right here and give it a whole bunch of gas. The reason I know that is because I was hauling butt one day and I was in 4th gear going a nice speed, but I figured it could go faster, and I was like, why is this bike so slow? And I was in 4th gear, I was in 2nd gear, and I was like, why is this bike so slow? I go to give it more gas and the bike just comes up on me like oh, I'm so finally glad that you found my freaking power zone, and I'm so glad we're using it now because you've been using me like a scooter this whole time. Like this bike is like just not, like I said, it's laughable. I'm really speechless on the type of power it has, because you have to really know how to ride and use the power to be able to use this power. But of course, you're not really going to be able to use it unless you get on the track. I don't care what back roads you hit. I mean, and even on the track, unless you have a lot of straights, you're really not hitting full power. Well, full throttle. You might hit full power in a couple of gears, but it's just, it hits. I'd love to show you, but I'm not trying to incriminate myself. So, say you're in 1st gear and you hit it, I mean, it's just, you can't keep the bike down. The bike's gonna keep coming up on you no matter what you do, unless you put a stretch on it. But if you can keep it down, whenever you kind of full throttle it, whenever you give it the rest of its throttle, it just like, it just has more. Like your nuts are in your stomach, and then it has more. And you're like, where did that come from? I haven't been riding you the way I should. Yes, I know. That's what she said. Alright, let's take this little... Try not to hit this guy here. I like your pants. Let's go swimming. Alright. It's only right to take a left on Travis Street. Alright, so this bike has like 3 or 4 modes, and I can't really go through them right now. But if you can see it, there's a slick mode right there. That's the chip mode. That's the one everybody talks about. You have to have a chip installed from BMW, or maybe a bike place. I don't know, but I know, or maybe I'm getting the two confused. But there is a chip involved, I promise. And yeah, it unleashes all the power for it. This one has the cat delete, the exhaust, the full tune, and the flash on it, which is technically the slick mode. And then it has, I think, rain mode and something. I'll actually have to go through those modes. So that's definitely something that my Cowie didn't have. But what I like about the 10s, like the 2010s, gosh, I'm gonna get so freaking lost in this video. But what I like about the 2010 BMWs is the seat width. Like, if you look at it, it actually looks like a 600, and I love that, because I'm not gonna say it rides like a 600, but it's kind of comfortable like a 600 with a less wide seat. I guess, if that makes sense. But of course the power is just astronomical. You really can't beat that. But if I'm comparing it to the 10, I think my 10 goodness gracious, I think my 10 has, this is the best comparison I can do, because I swear, on a ZX10R Japanese bike, the difference between that bike and this bike, even though I absolutely love that bike, is the Cowie has raw power, like raw out the gate. Like, when you hit it, you're gonna have a smile on your face every single time, because that's just what it is. It just gives you that impression that you just have all the power and you can do whatever you want. It's ludicrous. But the BMW, it's so hard to explain. It has a lot of power, but it's not like scary power, but it is fun power. But it's not Kawasaki power. That's the best way to put it. It's not raw. It's not like aggressive. Like, it does have a lot of power, but you know it has a lot of power. Like, it's not a surprise. It's kind of like, and this is probably a horrible comparison, but it's probably like going 0 to 60 in an Aventador. Like, that's really exciting, and you hit 160 miles an hour, that's crazy. But then when you go 0 to 60, or shoot, you go 0 to 300 in an airplane, you really don't even know that you're going that fast. And it's kind of just like, yeah, that was a horrible comparison, but I guess my point is, the speed is there. We all know these are fast bikes. Everybody knows what a BMW s1000rr is if you ride. Like, we know it's fast, but not everybody's a pilot. Not everybody can really manage that power. But it is on the Japanese bikes. Okay, yeah, let's just make sure we stay in our lane then. You did a fairly decent job. On a ZX10R, it's just raw power. So if I had to compare the two, it would be hard, honestly. I've only had this one for a month, so. But I'm not gonna be like, oh, this bike just like absolutely blows every other bike out of the water. Like, it definitely does have its perks. You know, it has the flashers on it. It has, you know, a nice little seats on it. And I mean, it's a BMW. It's pretty noticeable in the bike world, or even not in the bike world. You know, I definitely get compliments everywhere I go. Definitely got compliments on my Cowie everywhere I went too. So I think it's all about personal preference. Don't get this bike if you just don't really know what you're doing, like if you can see in the video, you'll be like, oh my gosh, what is that? If you can, I mean, you probably can't see their faces. Alright, and then I'm turn. If I can hit you, I promise. Oh gosh. Let's take a left right here. Alright, we're just gonna go in circles downtown. This is our little track for the day. So one, because I don't want to get lost because I freaking hate these one-ways. And although I'm from Houston, I don't really go to Houston. Okay, that's a lie. There's a lie to myself. There's another thing that I wanted to mention about this bike. I found pretty interesting. And then of course the headlights, you know, that's gonna be, I mean, that's pretty controversial, but honestly, I like them. I like a little difference in my life. I don't like being like everybody else. That's boring. If I wanted to be like everybody else, I would drive a Prius. And that is no... I'm not talking trash on Priuses because they're economical, I admit. But they're not fun. I would get a Tesla though. I was gonna get an economical car. But anyway, let's talk about the mirrors. They suck. They freaking suck. And I've ridden a lot of bikes. Hayabusa, Ducati. I've had R1, R6. Literally pretty much name them all. These mirrors, they're not the worst. Let me say that. They're definitely not the worst. But going back to Kawasaki, they come out a little bit farther and you can actually see not only behind you, but you can see next to you. So on this bike, you have to set up one for behind you, and then one you'll be able to see like who's next to you. But the one that's set up for behind you, like let's say you set up your left one for behind you, then you're not going to be able to see on your left. So you're always going to have to, you know, do a nice little turn. I mean, motorcycles don't really have a blind spot, but they kind of do if you're not paying attention. So I don't know, I just got spoiled with those mirrors before. A lot of people don't like mirrors at all. They just put them on the handlebars. So I mean, do whatever works for you. I'm just saying, personally, that does not work for me. So I don't like that. I wish the mirrors were a little bit better, but it is what it is. I do love the fact that it revs up to 14,000 because this thing screams. But I do want to mention this bike, and this kind of freaked me out at first, so hopefully somebody finds this helpful. This bike, the engine is extremely loud. Like, it's extremely noisy. Like, you hear a lot of chatter, almost like a Ducati, but not really like a Ducati. But just know that it's noisy and it's normal, especially if you're coming from a Japanese bike and then you hop on this and you're like, oh my gosh, what is that chatter? My engine's about to fall apart. No, calm down. It's just a bike. It's what it does. It's just a little bit different. You got to treat it with some love and respect. So yeah, don't freak out about that because I did, but now I'm calm. But yeah, other than that, maybe I'll make another video on the whole electronics of the bike. But for now, I think that's all I wanted to say about the Beamer. It really is an awesome bike, and honestly, if you've never ridden a 1000 before, you definitely would not be disappointed. And if you have ridden a 1000 before, you still wouldn't be disappointed. It's just, do you want to pay the extra? Like a 2010 ZX10R is around, I think Blue booked at probably around like $5,000 or something like that. And a 2010 one of these is Blue booked at like $10,000. Well, actually, goodness gracious, freaking the ZX10R probably isn't Blue booked at like $5,000. I think it's actually like $6 something, but I definitely have found some for $5,000. 2008 through 2010, and then the 2010 and 2011 BMW, I mean, they're going for like $10,000. So it's kind of just like, do you really want to pay the extra $4,000 or $5,000 to look cool? It's up to you. That's up to you. So anyway, those are my thoughts. I hope you like the the very small tour of Houston. And yeah, I'm gonna see y'all later.